Hello, this is Mark Jenner with Biomass Rules, and today we are looking at using the index match function in Excel to reshape data. This is the third lesson in our current What the Function series. We began by talking about the need to reshape data. First lesson was the theory. Second lesson was the first technique was just using manually shifting data around in a spreadsheet, cutting, pasting, or dragging and dropping. And now we're in the third one where we're actually using coding to get the job done. There's a lot in this graphic. This is a graphic that was connected to the blog post on this topic. I'm going to walk you through this. We began by downloading in the first lesson the data from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the CPI data. We cleaned it up. We deleted a column and some rows. It went back to 1913. We didn't need all that data. And what we have here are the CPI values for each month, for the years in each row, and the months in each column. We're going to take that in that format. We've got non-numeric months and non-numeric years. The years look like they're numbers, but they're loaded into the spreadsheet as text, and so we can't really use them mathematically. We're going to work with that. We're going to develop a text version of the date in column A, and we're going to take the CPI values and use this index match function to grab the data in one worksheet and put it into our index match worksheet. And so every time you see a CPI value in this worksheet on the left, it has this index match formula in it. We're going to look at the cell in B4, row 4, B4. We're going to look at the date value and the CPI value and how we got that, right? So this is the syntax for the index function. The first part is to look at the search array. We're going to go back to the other worksheet and we're going to grab that range. So the other worksheet is all items index level. That's the first part of that. And we're going to grab that range B2 to M27. It's everything that has a CPI value and not the headings. We're not going to include either the column headings or the row headings in this, where to look for this array. And now we're going to go get the row number. That's what this next section is. We're going to use the match function and looking at the dates, right? So the years that we're looking for, in the row headings in this CPI worksheet are the last the four digits on the right, four characters on the right. And so we're going to tell the match for the thing you look for, look in cell A4 on the right and use the four characters on the right. That's what that first piece says. And then after the comma, after the parentheses in the middle of that, is where do you look for it? We're going to look for it in that other worksheet, all items index level. We're going to look for it in column A, column A2 to column A7. And then that last character, that 0, is just a switch in this function that says we only want exact matches, right? So that took care of the row number. Then we're going to look for the column number. We're going to use the same function, except this time, instead of looking at the right four characters of that date value, we're going to look at the left four. So now it's left A4, look at A4 and pick the left four characters. That's what that function says. And then where do we look for it? Instead of looking at the places we've looked so far, we're going to look in row 1 of this other worksheet, all items index level, and we're going to look at the range from B1 to M1. January to December. The match function asks us to put a qualifier on there. We just want a 0 for exact values, right? And when we do that, the first match function, looking at the years, is going to give us a 1, and the match function looking at the months is going to give us a 3 for the column. And so when we get that, we're going to have inside the where do you look for range, March is the third column, and it's in the first row for 2000. And it's going to put that value in cell B2 where we've got this formula. All right, pretty cool. All right, that's what I wanted, the lesson. Now I want to go to the worksheet and show you how easy this is. I'm going to create a new worksheet. The easiest way to do that is just to click this plus sign. I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to label it a little different in index match. All right, and then I'm going to come up here and label my headings. And CPI, this is the urban CPI. So it's the code they use at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics is CPIU. There's lots of different flavors of CPIs, Consumer Price Index. So you need to know sort of what flavor you're using, and works pretty well most of the time. We're going to use the text version of the date actually, Excel can do this for us. I can save a little time by just copying the first 12 months, right? If I get the first 12 months in there, I'm just going to do this here. All right, copy these. This is my practice sheet, the key, right? And I'm going to paste these. These are all just text values. And I found that if I get the first 12 months in here for the year, I can have Excel fill in the rest. So I got the first 12 months. So I've got these highlighted, and there's a little green box in the lower right-hand corner. If I put my cursor over there, the cursor turns different kinds of plus signs, but I want it to be the solid black plus signs. I'm going to grab that and drag it down to April of 2025. April of 25. Whoop. And look at that. Connected that really well. Recall, we're going to be building this index function. Everything in this function is in the other worksheet, except for the reference to cell A2 in this case. We're working, so in that example, I worked in row 4, March, but now we're going to start with January. So it's row 2. So everything but the cell A2, when I type in A2, I want you to remember what this looks like. The first 4 characters on the left are the month. The 4 characters on the right are the year. That's important to remember, but I'm not coming back till I get done. All right, so I type in my first function. Excel gives me lots of help. I can click on those tab. I can click on those suggestions. It provides, this reminder of what the syntax is for this function. Very helpful. So I'm clicking over here, and this needs to be this range for the where do we look? That's the first part of the index function. It needs to be all the CPI values without the headings, right? So that works out to be B2 to M27, right? And I got that. So that's really the first part. And all those characters, all you did was click. I clicked to the next worksheet and I drug my cursor around a range. Now we're going to put the match function in, first match function, right? And now we need to look at we're looking for the row, right, which is the years. So we want to look at the right 4 characters in A2 and 4 characters, right? So this is what are we looking for? What are we looking for in that other worksheet? We're looking for the thing year in the column to the right in column A. All right, now we're going to where are we going to look for it? We're going to look for it in this column A, which, and when we write it out is A2 to A27, right? Row 2 to row 27. And then we need that 0. You can see it's giving me some help here. Put that in there. And that's our second component of the index function. That's the row number. Now we're going to put the column number in. We're going to do match again. And then we're going to do, instead of the right 4, we're going to look at the left 4 in A2 and 4. And then we want to know where to look for it. So this is what we're looking for. And then we want to know where to look for it. So we're going to highlight the month really effectively, row 1 from column B to column M. And then we're going to put this 0 in here to give us the exact match. All right. And we need one more parentheses. If you start parentheses in these coding functions, you need to have an ending parentheses, right? And so Excel has given us some color coding here to help us make sure we got it done. I think I'm there. And look at that, 168. That's the number I wanted. So I've got another thing to do, right? If I copy this down, Excel will just adjust all these range values, cell addresses, and range values accordingly to where I move it. So I need to anchor them with a $sign. The keystroke for doing this is the function key 4, F4. And if you, so I'm just securing the ranges. I'm not securing this reference to cell A2 because I want it to change. But this range I want to lock in. The $sign says, okay, always come back to this, always come back to this. And I got 3 of these. And the added benefit of this F4 key, the function 4 key, is that it toggles through 4 times. It goes through the whole cycle. So you can choose where you want the $sign just by clicking through on that. All right, now I'm ready to copy. I want to copy this. I'm going to click over here and use keystroke. So I move to A2. I'm going to go down to the bottom, end, down arrow key. And it took me down to the bottom. Now I'm going to go over back to the column I want to copy into, and I'm going to hold the shift key down when I click end and then up key, right? So now I've highlighted everything from the first number to the last place I want to copy it. Now I'm going to paste everything in there, the formula. It looks like it's done what I wanted to. There's one thing here, right? So I got these weird NA. codes. This is an error, right? Not available. I said it's got to have a period in here. If we go back and look at this, the data we downloaded from this Bureau of Labor and Statistics doesn't have a period in it. So if I put a period in here and I come back to my thing, now everything's happy, right? So that's how I put that. I left it like this to show you because characters matter. If the character's there or it's not there, you say it's going to be there and it's not, then it doesn't know what to do. And so we've done it. This is, you can look up here in this field. This is in row 18. That's a lot of characters. I typed very few of these. I just clicked on things and most of the characters populated themselves, right? But you have to understand what's going on to get that done. That's what I want to show you. We got more to come. So keep checking back. We'll keep unpacking Excel and data management tools.